Some of you guys probably are. So Mike Constantino is our one and only CEO and founder. The CEO and founder of Homonym. So we're the premier sonic branding, music marketing agency, and export agency in the Philippines. Mike is a 26-year veteran with international exposure. So he's been with Yahoo, with ABS-CBN Global. He has extensive experience in multiple disciplines and has been a key figure in the local and regional music industry for decades. So medyo napaghahalataan yung edad ni Mike on that part. But yeah, Mike is an in-demand international speaker, subject matter expert, and consultant. He was actually the director of IMAP, so now DMAP na, from 2013 to 2019. On the music front, Mike has been a professional DJ since 2004, performing at bars and select events in and around the region. He is a two-time Awit Award-winning singer and songwriter for his work with his independent soul band Conscious and the Goodness in 2019. So together with NCCA, he founded Sonic Philippines, the country's official music conference and showcase festival, and serves as its executive director. Again, guys, if you missed his talk at the DigiCon, we're glad you made it today. And of course, Mike will be delving into the world of sonic branding and how it harnesses the power of sound and audio. This is going to be the first of many webinars as mentioned. So I hope you guys keep your eyes peeled no for our upcoming webinars for next year. At the end of this session, we hope you'll learn a thing or two about how to utilize sound for your brand. So yeah, without further ado, Mike, take it away.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Thanks for that introduction, Cham. Like Cham said,
Yeah, sure.
everybody, yeah, we're thankful that everybody's here. Basically, we're doing this if you saw the post because some people were not able to attend this session during the GCON. And then we kept getting messages. We missed it, we missed it. Either they weren't there that day or they went to the video stage. So we collaborated with DMAP to do this again for you guys today. It will be recorded and then we will share it with you as Cha mentioned, and then you guys can share it with your teammates. Can you just put in the chat like which companies or industries you're from so that I have context, and then maybe I can you know uh, tweak, I guess, the case studies that we're gonna show later. Just put it in the chat. Yeah, this is the first
I can
soundscapes. Yeah, this is the first soundscapes that we're doing, no? And again, Cham said this will be the first of many. Our next one will probably be in partnership with PRA, so Philippine Retailers Association. It's probably going to be about in-store music or enhancing retail experiences with sound. So let's begin. We have about an hour, and then we have some time for questions at the end. And you guys are free to answer any question. You guys are free to ask any questions. Cham is joined by CJ, our head of strategy for Homonym, and the rest of the guys from Homonym are here on the call as well to help answer any of your questions. Cool. I hope you guys don't mind if we start on a bit of a somber note. We just wanted
guys, good
to
morning.
Yeah, we just wanted to dedicate this session to Miss Evelyn Salire of she's the Secretary General of the Philippine Retailers Association. She passed away last week. We miss her so much. She's had a huge impact on the industry and certainly our company. We're gonna use an example of the last project we did with her. I hope you guys can say a little prayer for Miss Evelyn. She's sorely missed. Such a joy of a person. Cool. We love starting out our sessions with stuff like this. So guess that brand. Again, put na lang in the chat which brands you think these are just by the sound. Let's start with the easy round. I'm pretty sure you guys know what that one is. And this one, if you don't know, medyo weird. So here, literally says the brand. Let's go to the pretty easy round. I'm also sure you guys know what that one is. Next one. Again, I'm sure you guys know what that is. Parang napapastand kayo sa attention. Not so easy. It would be wild if you can guess, especially the last one. Here's the second to the last. Not really good. You guys know what that one is? Oh, okay. The Cham chat is disabled. Hey, Rick, long time, man. Let's enable the chat so that people can give their answers. Yes. This is the last one. Um, so let's reveal the answers. Oops. I'm sure you guys got McDonald's, Shopee, Netflix, MPRCB. If you've been in this country and watched the movie in your lifetime, you know what that is. The not so easy one is Shell, and you'll see a case study on that later. And then the last one is PRA. So their Sonic brand, which actually we collaborated on it with. You'll see more about that later. Cool. So before anything, for those of you who don't know us yet, we just want to introduce ourselves. So we're Homonym. We make brand experiences better with sound. Anything related to sound like music, audio, and voice, and whatever they invent in the future, we'll be able to help you guys with that. So whether it's campaigns, brands, videos, events, retail experiences, activations, and even now, it's getting more important, no, mental well-being and how music and audio can help people with that. So we believe that sound is the next great marketing frontier. So in branding and marketing and in advertising, the time of audio is certainly upon us. So just in 2021, there's a 136% increase in brands that launched the Sonic brand. Um, and there's 88% higher recall for brands that consistently use their Sonic logo with their visuals. And then just neurologically, this is how every human being ever born is wired. So we hear much faster than we see. So we get to process stuff we hear and diretso siya sa puso 8.5 times faster or 30 milliseconds versus visuals or lyrics. By the way, throughout the presentation, you'll see QR codes in the bottom left, and then you can scan them if you're interested in the research in each of these slides that we're sharing for more information. Anyway, we'll share this deck with everybody here so that you can check it out at your own pace. So our friends from YouTube told us actually about what's called screenless moments for what everybody calls the earphone generation. So right now, everybody, sana naman, is wearing earphones or earbuds listening to this talk. But what YouTube says is 79% of audio consumption now actually takes place during screenless moments. So messages, video messages are being delivered on YouTube, but people are actually not looking at their screens 79% of the time. They could be doing chores, they could be studying, they could be commuting, or doing other things. So this underscores the importance of making sure that the audio part of your communications for the marketers here in this call is on point. So even if they're not looking at the screen, you're still communicating and delivering your message. So we love sharing this slide, and this actually came from one of our beloved clients from Globe. There's an entire chapter missing in your brand Bible. So that client of ours, Max, was saying, "Oh, no, we don't have any governance for our brand sound. So when we sponsor an event, and the partner is playing any type of music, what if they start playing the music of our competitor's brand ambassador? Or if they're playing the radio or Spotify, it's not premium, and then the ad of our competitor pops in. So we have to have governance and audio guidelines for all of our initiatives. And I will share a bit of stuff about that. And hopefully, you guys can learn a thing or two in this regard. So this is my big quotey quote about sonic branding. But essentially, if you remember anything about this slide, we just hope that you will become audio aware marketers after this presentation. That's really our goal. That's why we share stuff like this and we do webinars for free. We do educational workshops around the country together with our partners. It is time to have an intentional, distinct, and consistent audio strategy. So let's forget about the past wherein audio is always last, music is always last. Let's really start including audio in our 360s. This is great timing because people are in the planning stage now. So 2024, you'll have a lot of fresh ideas and ammo for your utility belts when you get back to your respective offices. So let's talk about visual identity vis-a-vis sonic identity because this is the best way for us to communicate the importance of sound in the entire scheme of your campaigns. So whenever we launch a brand, the first thing that we do is we develop a logo, we develop a look, a visual identity, and we take a lot of time, spend a lot of resources on this until we feel we get it right. Down from the font, down from the brand colors, we put symbolic meanings behind our visual logos. We make sure that our taglines match the visual logo, and then we implement this, across all of the touch points that our consumers encounter our brands. A good example is what Paymaya did last year. So now they're called Maya. So can you imagine the lengths that they went through for this rebrand? They changed their colors. They developed a specific font just for Maya, and then they developed a tagline. They even have like a brand book just for the visual branding. So they didn't, of course, stop at this. They had to roll it out across the entire ecosystem of Paymaya, from the stores, from their partner stores or partner establishments, down to their app, their website. You'll see later their socials also, so that amount of effort and that amount of focus on changing or rebranding, we feel and we believe should also be the same for when you start exploring what your brand sounds like. So we'll share some examples of that later. So here, in terms of music marketing or in terms of audio marketing or audio branding, this was the big initiative of Maya. By the way, we didn't work on this campaign. Our consultant for creative strategy worked on this campaign. And then, we just learned some insights from her here and there. These are the ones that we feel we could share. That's not, well, she didn't share any confidential stuff anyway. Just a side note. So this is their music marketing effort. They contracted Shanty Dope, who's the perfect endorser based on who their target market is, which is Gen Z or young professionals, young people that they wanted to educate about the value of money in e-commerce. So even if you look at the lyrics, it's very, very targeted towards a certain target audience. And it plays well with the tagline that they have. The thing is, they stopped at this. We wish we could have worked with them so that we could have developed an audio brand or a sonic brand together with their visual rebrand, and then that to us would just complete the 360. So I say, oh, by the way, I love using this example because my daughter's Maya. So yeah, so I mentioned about social media earlier, right? You can literally see the transition. So from Pay Maya to Maya, the look is very, very distinct. This is grabbed from their Facebook page or their YouTube page. But when you listen to the new rebranded stuff, they're still using the generic library music that they were using in the past. So if you have a sonic brand, you can factor that in, and then you'll see how we can expand that sonic brand from just a few notes to what we call a soundscape. And you'll learn a bit about that in a bit. So we love saying this to our clients because music marketing is not just, okay, I'll get a brand endorser, make them sing a song, and that's music marketing. Or I'll put that artist in our video, and that's music marketing. In the following slides, you'll learn there's so much more to what you can do with sound. That's simply just getting a musical artist for your campaign. So this is a good example of, I guess, full-blown music marketing campaigns. This one, Coke Studio Season 2, the work that we did with them, wherein we developed the framework. We use music psychology to pair the artists. We partnered with Google and YouTube to figure out which are the top searched artists based on the target audience, which is teens. So there's really a lot more. We figured out which schools to go to and which barangays to do the tour, the dates, specific dates of when we will do the launches. It's really there's a lot that goes into it. Again, not dissimilar to how you would approach a visual campaign. We did about the same thing for the campaign of Globe and book called Ready for the World. So it's really there's a lot of strategy and research and I guess collaborative work with agencies and with the brand involved versus again just getting an artist and putting them in your music video. So here, again for the marketers in the house, or even not for the non-marketers, if you're familiar with the customer journey or the marketing funnel, there are stages called awareness, consideration, trial, and loyalty or repeat business. So instead of touch points, we call them hear points. So any point that your consumer or your target audience can hear you or your brand, there's a corresponding initiative that audio, music, sound, voice can factor into. This is a very eye-opening slide when we share it because it just puts into perspective that ma-realize mo like, oo nga, no? Um, Sound just factors into pretty much basically everything that we do as a brand in our 360. So in the awareness phase, definitely TV, radio, social, digital, sound will be there. Um, when we develop a Sonic brand, we start with the Sonic logo, and sometimes we have a brand voice. And you'll see an example of that later. Tie-ups with artists, TVCs, and audio. So essentially, this would be phase one in your Sonic branding journey. And then you start branching out. Again, the term soundscape. You start branching out the soundscape. You start rescoring your content. When you stream live, you have music, just like how you heard the music before we started this webinar. Events and activations, you start factoring that in down to trial. So in packaging, point of sale, even you start including sound there. And then in your loyalty programs, if you have a website or an app, certainly your sound should be there. Your community Viber, which is a big thing now for brands. Your Instagram lives, your TikToks, also pretty big for brands. So for repeat and loyalty. And again, yeah, you could use it as your hold music. When someone calls your hotline, they should be hearing your sound or something fashioned or modeled or curated around that. Usually we have a lot of questions here, so um, I leave it here for a couple more seconds so that you guys can write stuff down, and we're happy to answer them and get back to this slide later when we do the A&B. All right, so if you haven't already sensed, I think sound could be the differentiator that you've been looking for to have that competitive edge. Remember, sound is much easier, much cheaper, and much faster to produce than a full-blown video. If your competitor does not have a Sonic brand, it's time that you had one because that immediately sets you apart from them and gives you that edge in terms of branding, even when they cannot see you, in terms of associating feelings with your sound. When we hear MTRCB, we know we have to stand at attention because the movie is coming up. When we hear the Tadum of Netflix, we know that the movie that we took 1 hour to choose is finally gonna start. For some people, when they hear the selecta sound, they start salivating or they start sweating because they're reminded of hot summers when they were children. So hopefully we can help you guys do that with your own brand sounds. Cool. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about, like differentiation and this time affinity. I don't even have to say it. You guys already are playing it in your head right now. But they rebranded a couple of years back and then they changed Resorts World Manila to it doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely as Resorts World Manila, or because they've been using it since 2012, 11 years already. It's ingrained in our heads already. And this distinguished Resorts World Manila, which is a new property, a new brand at the time, from everybody else that's much more well established than they are. Cool. So we're gonna give some examples of Sonic logos and Sonic brands that either we worked on with Filipino brands, or some case studies that we really really appreciate and we feel would be useful for you guys on this call. So when we say we enhance brand experiences with sound, this is what we mean. I'll start with this. So when a client engages us or any of our counterparts, sonic branding agencies in the world, typically we do an ideation of a week or so, a couple weeks, depending on how much information we get and how deep we need to dive. And then once we do our ideation, it's very similar to a creative agency's process, except our output is sound. So we would typically have 3 or 4 choices for your sonic logo or sonic brand. And let's start with the first option that we presented to this client. So very techy because it's a tech client. Option two, which is my favorite, but I got outvoted. Very sprightly version. Number four is the one that was approved by the client in March of 2020. And we were supposed to launch this in May of 2020, but we all know what happened in 2020. So this project was shelved. That's why we're free to share it with you guys. That's the winning one. So I'll play it again for you guys. In the next slide, you will see when we do Sonic logo and we have a recommendation, we already arrange several situations depending on the platform the client usually uses. Typically, it's digital, or the target audiences that the client has. So I'll play the Sonic logo again, the winning one, so you can hear, and then we'll play the trap version or hip hop version, and then the K-pop version, so you can hear it in action. So this is our favorite, the K-pop version. So the 5 notes of the Sonic logo of the client are embedded in that arrangement. Just like how when you launch a visual logo, you have to keep, bombarding your audience with it until it sticks. It's the same with sound. Here's the trap version. And then we typically make a full version and then we append that to an existing video so the client can see and feel how it feels with the visuals they made. We cannot share the video that we did for this campaign because it's still confidential, but listen to the full arrangement wherein you'll see different vibes. You'll hear different vibes and you can start imagining that you can use this for any type of content or visual media that the client would launch. now you can imagine, but also start feeling what this brand could sound like if they had pushed through with this campaign. I have another example. This is the work that we did with Metrobank when they turned 60. If you are familiar with Metrobank, you're in good hands with Metrobank. That is like a 35-year-old iconic sound. So um, we didn't want to veer away from that because it's so associated with their brand. So we just modernized it and literally used sounds of stone to make you feel how solid Metrobank is as an institution. So if you apply that into their app, this is the splash page sound, the notification for a sent message, notification for a received message, and then a longer version for whatever use, like ATM withdrawal, for example, and then the complete version. So now you're starting to hear the soundscape of brands and how you can utilize sound across here points. So this is the one that we were telling you about at the beginning, again dedicated to the lovely Miss Miss Evelyn. So Philippine Retailers Association reached out to us because they were interested in having a sonic brand. And their tagline is literally the pulse and voice of the Philippine retail industry. So what our team did is we gave them a literal pulse and voice. So we have the voice version, and then we have a shimmery version. So now I let you hear the PRA. So I let you hear the three notes in a full arrangement, but with a video this time. So if you notice, basically we start embedding the sound and keep repeating those three notes so that ma-inception na siya in the heads of the target audience. So the association with the brand is full, and then we can start working on the feelings or the affinity associated with the sound of PRA. I won't play the whole video, but just so you can hear the video using a generic sound that they got from the internet, what it sounds like. So you can hear the difference. Okay. I'd like to share a case study of somebody that, okay, so I'm hearing that my audio is getting a little weaker. Is it better, Cham?
Yes. Thanks,
Okay,
Mike.
I'll just be nearer. I'd like to share a case study that we did for one of our very, very first clients. They're called Felipe and Sons. If you're familiar with them, they're a barber dashery. So a barber shop where you can get the typical, actually not typical, the usual services, but elevated. Um, haircuts and shaves. massages, but there also are haberdashery, so you can have uh, suits and other custom menswear made there. Their tagline is "We revive Manila's swagger." Okay, so this is an example, a shortened example of what we do when we do sonic ideation. So because they're a barber shop, we when we did the research on the audio side, we discovered that there's such a thing in the 1910s called barbershop music, and this is literally where gospel, jazz, blues, soul, and R&B were rooted to come up with doo-wop, if you're familiar with that. So imagine quartets, choruses, finger snapping, foot tapping, and harmonies. Basically, black music. And then we actually found an artist from Chicago called Haberdashery. He's an electronic musician, electro pop. Very, very interesting sound. So now you have two elements that you can utilize for the sonic identity of Philippine Sons that will make them distinct from their competitors. And then they said that it's called Philippine Sons because Felipe stands for the Philippines, and the target audience, which is men, are his sons. So we started going into the concept of fathers and our relationships with them and sound. So we realized that most of the firsts that we experience in our life are with our dad. First time you drink, first time you drive, first heartbreak. You know, you're talking to your dad. So the thrill of discovery and first, we definitely incorporated that into their songwriting. And then we found this study about that says your music preference actually um, corresponds to certain psychographic profiles. And it just so happens the ones highlighted in pink are the ones this perfectly describing the target audience of Philippine Sons. So inventive, active imaginations. So literally we have now have a blueprint of what type of music we need to be adding. So we have barbershop music, which jazz blues is under, and then we have electropop, and now we have classical and folk music. So how do you apply all of those? So soul, gospel, R&B, jazz, folk, a little bit of electro, Filipino swag because revive swagger is their tagline, and then endearing first of your father. This is what that sounds like.
Is a cipher making life complicated with our musical concerto and mental collaborations. My clutches move the crowd with mass communication. Martyrs for the cause of mathematic conversation.
My audio is that better? Can you guys hear me? Cham, can you hear me better? Sorry, guys.
Hey, Mike.
Okay, now I know. Here,
Yeah,
you can hear me better.
yeah, and it's way better.
There you go.
Thank you.
Let me play that song again. This one. So it's very jazzy, very soulful. It's electro, and this is actually by a Filipino artist named Pasta Group.
This is a cipher making life complicated with our musical concerto.
And the first time you hear it, you'll be like, "What is that?" So, based on that one song, which represents the sonic brand or sonic identity of Philippine Sons, our team curated a playlist, several 8-hour playlists that they played in their branches. So because their target audience was wide, from 20-year-olds to 50-year-olds and up, we did our research and figured out, found this music psychology principle that we call 14 to 24. So it says that
every human being ever born from 14 to 24 years old, that's when you develop your personal identity. And a huge part of that is your music identity. For females, because females mature earlier, the music that you heard from 11 to 13 years old, and for males 14 to 16, that music sticks with you for life, whether you like it or not. It's embedded in you. You probably memorize the words and you will have physiological reactions like sweating, foot tapping when you hear this music. So for a 20-year-old today, those times were in about 2019. For a 40-year-old today, those times were about 1999. So we got the music that fits the sonic identity of Philippine Sons and curated them into these playlists so that all target audiences, regardless of age, will have that aha moment of hearing it for the first time, a different version of a song that they love or something new that will interest them. When we were in the stores test running this playlist, we literally saw people having massage lying down, and then they wake up asking the barber, "Ano to?" And then of course the barbers have scripts, and it increases the banter or the relationship with them and the affinity and the feel for Philippine Sons. So these are more examples that fit with the Sonic brand or identity of Philippine Sons. I'll play another one for you guys.
Kapanahunan na naman ng paglalambingan.
So this one is by a Filipino artist, electronic. When you hear it, you're like, I know that song, but there's something different about it. And then, of course, it has swag. Okay, next. So when you apply that music or sonic identity on videos, this is what it sounds like. Now, tell me if it's off strat or on strat based on the sonic identity you saw. Here's another one. Oops. Another one. Definitely has swag. Okay, so for the next section, we're going to be talking about feelings and memories based on sonic branding. You guys know the sounds of these already, so I'll play them anyway. So here you're like, okay, I think I need to add to cart. Netflix, I used that earlier. And then this one of my favorite sounds. It means I'm about to create something cool when I open up my laptop. Okay, of course, nobody wants to sound like everybody else out there. I'll give you an example. I'll play you a sound and maybe say in the chat what this sound is to you. I'll give a prize to the one that can guess. Did you guys guess that right? Oh, somebody tried. Familiar. Hoo-hoo. So, should we call you Marie, Maureen? So, yeah, I mean, you recognize that sound because whenever you go into a BPI to do any transaction, that's literally the only sound that's played the entire day. Naka-loop lang itong video na to for the entire day. And then the reason you think it's familiar is because other brands also use that sound. In particular, Potato Corner, because it's royalty-free music called Ben Sound, from an artist called Ben Sound. The music is Little Idea. So because it's royalty-free music, if you look at the comments, this is their memory, or this is their affiliation with BPI. This is the sound of BPI to them, to the target audiences. So um eye-opening, no? So on in stark contrast naman, this is the work that we did for Home Credit. So they did a visual rebrand in 2021, so out of the pandemic, ganyan. And then 2022, medyo pandemic pa rin. So they were thinking of doing something new and fresh. So they contacted us to do a rebrand, or to do a sonic brand for them to match with their visual rebrand. This is what we came up with.
Home credit.
So 3 notes, Home Credit. So from those 3 notes, nag-expand yung soundscape niya into a full song, which became the anchor of their campaign. And this is the campaign.
Sa bawat yugto ng buhay, hawak mo ang aking kamay. Ano man ang iyong sitwasyon, ready na ang solusyon. Para sa home, para sa life, sa pag-asenso ng ating buhay. Para sa home, para sa life, sa iba't ibang hamon kaming kapay. Para sa home credit. Para sa home, para sa life, sa pag-asenso ng ating buhay. Para sa home, para sa life, sa iba't ibang hamon kaming kapay. Para sa home, para sa life. Para sa home, para sa life, sa pag-asenso ng ating buhay. Para sa home, para sa life, sa iba't ibang hamon kami gabay. Para sa home, para sa life.
So that is your LSS for the week. So again, note that it started from those 3 notes and it became a thematic song for their campaign. When they heard the song, and you saw in the beginning of the video, they're like, this song will be a hit. We need to get somebody big to sing it. So again, using research, our relationships, music psychology. After a crappy pandemic, what you need is a warm hug from a brand. So Moira De La Torre and her warm, huggy voice was the one that we contracted for this campaign, and she's the perfect one to usher in, a new year, a new era for Home Credit, which was their 9th year. So an example of expanding soundscapes. So we did a music video with Moira. We had a Christmas version. Nanganak na siya into like an AM radio show about financial wellness. When you go to the to the booths in the stores, you're gonna hear the Sonic logo, the Sonic brand, or even the song. You walk into the office of Home Credit. When the door opens, the song will play for you. You call Home Credit. Moira's voice will calm you down if you have a concern that you want to report or need help with. And now they're considering using this Sonic brand in Home Credit Indonesia and Home Credit Vietnam. So again, from those 3 notes, it expanded and expanded into such a huge and wide soundscape across many, many hear points for Home Credit. It even became an anthem for them. So it's after 1 year, it built so much brand love externally and internally. If you go to Home Credit, every time we post a video with this song, you see tons and tons of comments about I love this song. I love this song. I wish this song was on Spotify. So we actually put it on Spotify. So if you go on Spotify, you can actually look for this and put it in your playlists. Their employees, 14,000 strong, make this into their ringtones, and they really love the song. Also, after 1 year of that soundscape building, we're now in phase two or year two. The warm hug of Moira turned into a more upbeat version of the song of the Sonic brand because we're ushering a new year naman. And this is the 10th year anniversary celebration of Home Credit. So listen to the difference between the chill Moira version and then the upbeat Christmassy version.
Meron! Hindi ko alam, sikat daw! New phone this Christmas? Christmas gift para kay tatay? Bagong ref para kay nanay? Laban lang para sa life goals ngayong Pasko with Home Credit.
Para sa life, sa pag-asenso ng ating buhay. Para sa home, para sa life. Credit.
Yay! So very K-pop kasi very mass-based yung audience nila, no? Cool. So, just a quick case study, no, for you, ano ba, quantitative nerds out there. So this was an independent study done by Spotify across the, yeah, pre-campaign and post-campaign. So sonic branding actually works. So meron tayong plus 11% of brand awareness, plus 9% of, am I hearing something in my brand familiarity is plus 9%, and then consideration is plus 5%. Am I hearing music? Is anybody hearing? People are hearing music right now? That's so weird. Okay.
Just like, parang may play na music sa end mo yata.
Okay, let me just check what's going on. It's like ghost sounds
Yeah.
playing right now. So it's not this one. Wow, party na tayo. It's not this one.
Probably from the PowerPoint anyway.
Is it? Okay, let me just go back to the PowerPoint. It's still playing. Oh my god. Sorry guys. This is funny but also not funny at the same time. Wait lang let me try to stop share. So there really is music playing somewhere in my... Let me turn all of my audio stuff off. That's not it. Okay. So my title is playing. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. So, ano talaga, may impact talaga yung music. All right. Sorry about that. No, I was talking, is it okay now, Cham?
Yep, yep.
Nagustuhan naman yata ng audience yung yung music na party at 10
Tugs-tugs
a.m.
daw.
Tugs. Sorry about that. Now you know my music preference. Okay, just to wrap this slide up, no. So brand familiarity, tapos brand awareness. It beat the average lift regional, no, yung benchmarks on Spotify. But where it gets interesting is the consideration. So kasi plus 5% siya eh. Very likely that they will consider home credit after they saw this campaign versus plus 1 lang benchmark. So plus 5 is huge for a microfinancing company like Home Credit. We can't share the information or the data, but what we can say is that on the heels of this campaign, they had their best December ever in 2022. In their entire 10 years, they had their best Q1 and Q2 ever in their entire 10 years on the heels of this campaign. So hopefully, the Marian Rivera version will net even better results for us. Cool. So I'm just gonna play a case study as a mind break for everybody, and then this is just like a 1 minute or so. I hope if there's anybody in the finance or banking industry here, hope this is beneficial for you.
The world around us is transforming at an incredible pace, and it is impacting how consumers engage with everything around them, and that includes brands. It is critical for any brand to manifest and reinforce itself as a symbol of trust and confidence and represent the quality that consumers expect. I'm really thrilled to add a new dimension into our brand transformation, which is the launch of our Sonic Identity. Sonic Identity literally adds a new dimension to the consumer experience. It reaches people's minds and hearts through another sense, which is the sense of hearing. Our Sonic brand registers our brand more powerfully. This evolution helps us prepare for the future of voice commerce, Internet of Things, and so on. The digital age is transforming the way we live, shop, and pay. The latest example is the ascent of audio in our lives. Hundreds of millions of people are already using smart speakers. And voice shopping alone is set to hit $40 billion by 2022. An audio strategy is no longer a nice to have. It is just as important as a brand's visual identity. This is the start of our Sonic journey, and over the coming months, more and more sound dimensions will be revealed.
I'm muted. So this was a few years ago. MasterCard is now the number one Sonic brand in the world, and their soundscapes are just all over the place. Okay, let me play just a few more slides, and then we can do the questions. If there's anybody in retail here, we'll just share a few slides on in-store music and how it makes the shopping experience better. So again, we still encounter this when we talk to our clients. Some of them are still using CDs that they ship with burger buns, and then somebody curates it from the marketing team, chooses a bunch of songs every month, and then they send it. So I will show you how powerful music can be if you use modern tools. So I'm not going to get into the importance of visual identity because we already got into that. But just so you know, retailers spend so much effort again on the visuals uh, of their store for the feel, but the vibe, not so much. So retailers are no longer just product suppliers. They really need to build relationships with consumers based on experiences. And as you heard earlier, audio comes first in our brains and in our hearts before any visuals. So according to a study by Shopify, so retail branding in 2023, this is what your overhead should look like. So obviously signage, logo, brand colors, music is there. Some are using scents. The lighting is also very important. Product packaging, display, retail staff, and of course being consistent across your branches, um, like nationwide or wherever they may be. So um, we one of our clients all day, we provide in-store music for them. Just so you guys have a quantitative I guess insight into how music impacts retail experiences. So improvement of shoppers mood is 73%. Improvement of employees mood is 91%. It's very important. Rick, I know you have um a wellness or healthcare facility. So music plays a very, very big role in mental wellness. And oftentimes retailers forget that their staff are people too. So if you imagine if you can recall the BPI example earlier, so you're working for BPI for 2 years, and that's the song you hear 8 hours a day for 2 years. That has an impact on you. Versus we curate music that makes you feel good, that you're receptive to, or even music that you like. That gives you a pep in your step and whistle while you work vibe when you're working. So again, I'm not gonna go into this because we already said that music really makes experiences better. Again, there's a QR code here, and you can scan that if you're in retail, and then you can see more of these examples. So this is what I was talking about. 81% of staff perform better when there's music in the store. So we're about to end, and we're excited to hear your questions. So get them ready. We'll just do a recap. So, enhancing brand experiences with sound. We learned that sound is an untapped new weapon that marketers can wield. The earphone generation has gone 79% screenless. So, if you don't have audio in your communications, you're missing out, or there might be wastage of your campaign money because you're not communicating as much as you can be. You need to write a chapter audio in your brand Bible, and certainly, Cham and team, we can help you with that. You are now an audio-aware marketer. Wouldn't you agree? After today's presentation, you're gonna definitely look at audio, sound, voice, music in a very different way. And you're the only one that knows these things. You have that as an advantage as a marketer. So please start spending as much time and resources on your audio as you do with your video. It's just as important, if not importanter. Music marketing is much more than using a star artist, and I think we showed enough examples to illustrate that. Expanding your soundscape is more doable than you think. It's easy. Like I mentioned, sound is much cheaper, faster, easier to implement across your funnel, as you might think. And I hope we shared some ideas to get your motors running. Sonic branding works, as you saw with the all day and the home credit examples. It actually adds to your bottom line. In all day and in all home, we have in-store messages that announce promos. Go to aisle 7 for 20% discount. Oh my god, okay. Wait lang ha. I'm trying to figure out where these sounds keep coming from. I think that is the last video I'm supposed to be playing. Is that me again, Cham? Okay.
This mic.
Sorry about that. Ayan. Okay, so I now know what the culprit is. When somebody's calling my phone, it somehow triggers the sounds in my laptop. Okay, let's do that again. Where am I? Here. Okay, sorry about that. I hope people stop calling me while we're recording this session. Yeah, and so I think we ended here. No, it adds to your bottom line. I was saying, like, in all home all day, we plug in store messages for promos. They say, like, go to aisle 10 for 50% discount on diapers, and you can literally see the people going to aisle 10 getting the diapers. So it really helps, nakaka-increase siya ng benta, no? It's easy to not sound like everyone else out there. So if you're still using library music or generic music, hopefully you can start rethinking that strategy and distinguish yourself more for your target audiences. And then, of course, in-store music makes the retail experience better. Iba lang talaga yung vibe when you enter a store. Have you ever entered a store tapos walang sound? Or you enter a store tapos the music is too loud, decibel levels are too high, or off-strat na metal yung music pero they're selling makeup. No, so it really contributes to the retail experience. So you now, as audio aware marketers, have fancy new audio marketing terms that you can share with your friends and coworkers. One is sonic branding. Some people call it audio branding. Sonic logo. So please stop using the term stinger. Kasi ano pa yan, parang 80s term pa yan, no? So start using the word sonic logo. Audio logo, sonic brand, pwede din. If you're a frou-frou or pa-cool ka, you can use ear cons. Kasi 'di ba icons visual. So some people call it ear cons. So but sonic logo is just fine, or audio logo, but not stinger. Now you're audio aware, and then now you know what screenless moments means, and how this can impact your campaigns. Uh, do you know about touch points? But now you also know about hear points. And then now you know about your brand soundscape. It's essentially the landscape of your brand and how it factors into the world, to the marketing world that your target audiences revolve around. And then in-store music, some people call it background music. Some people, our industry term is actually overhead music, but in-store music is just fine. So just a few slides to end. Why should you work with us? Um, so we have an extensive uh, range of partners to help you amplify your campaigns, from record labels if you need to license music, to music tech companies, like Song Trader, to music platforms like TikTok and Spotify, YouTube Music. We work with cool brands like 88 Rising and Mix. We work with the government. So if you have any questions on PhilScap or PRM for your retail stuff, we can definitely help you with that. And then we work with lots of brands. So Homonym turned 7 years last June. We're going on our 8th year. So far, so good. We survived the pandemic, and these are just some of the cool people that we worked with in the past few years. We work well with agencies. So if you want to plug us into your 360 or your ecosystem, for the brand work that you're doing, your campaigns or marketing or advertising stuff. We work well with media agencies, creative agencies, activations agencies, and then even audio and production houses. We work with all of the management companies and labels, like I mentioned. So if you need to book anybody from Azil to um, Sarah G or Gary V, to a Ben and Ben, SB19, all of which we've actually worked with already. Just let us know. We also work with a lot of schools, so we have our ear to the ground to see what young people are into these days. There are a lot of musicians in our company, myself included, as you heard sa intro. CJ is also a super accomplished guitar player. So when we enter a room, we really know what we're talking about when it comes to sound. And then we have an in-house studio with 6 composer producers. So Jazz and Mikey of the Itchy Worms, and they're considered the fifth and sixth Eraserheads because they played those 2 shows last December. They're award-winning, along with our friends from Sunnyside, that help us make all of the sounds and music for our partners. I'm not gonna play all of these, but some of our prod work. Again, we're gonna share this deck with you guys, and you can listen to our awesome, fantastic, fantabulous work in your own time. So but here I'll play this, no, kasi a lot of the requests from clients now is literally a term. Oh, Mike, gawa kayo ng TikTokable na song, ha. So ito is my favorite, the Bioflute one.
Lahat ay nagulat nang ika'y umubo. Sa lakas ng iyong hatching, lahat na pahinto. Pag may sore throat ka or flu, lagnat, sipon, tubo, body pain, chills, sakit ng ulo, you know what to do. Bangon Bioflu, bangon Bioflu, bangon Bioflu, bangon Bioflu, bangon Bioflu, bangon Bioflu.
Hindi ko talaga kaya yung TikTok, guys, eh. So, ilang beses na nila akong inattempt pagawin yan, pero hindi ko talaga kaya. A little bit more. So, as you saw, we do much more than just audio production. We do strategy. We do licensing. Sometimes nag-shoot pa kami. We do music supervision as well. Yan, we're super proud of this event. If any of you were able to attend these, Rick, we actually had one in Davao, in DGT. So I don't know if you were able to check that out. Work with Spotify. And then I'll end with our consultant. So he's the one that started the sonic branding journey of Shell. His name is Dean Aragon. He's Pinoy. I was fortunate enough to visit him and meet a lot of cool people in London with him last month. So sound is that intangible differentiator that stimulates brand preference, which in turn stimulates market growth. Long-term investment siya, guys. Just like when you launch a visual logo, you don't expect people to just imbibe it right away. So it's really a marathon, no? So you start with a sonic logo, And then we start having fun building the soundscape for your brand, working with you and working with your agency. Favorite ni Dean, why rent when you can own? So why license a song or why rent a song from a music library when we can develop your very own that none of your competitors can ever use, and that you can grow not just locally, regionally, but also globally. So yon, I was gonna play a video. If you guys want to see this, I'll play it. But if you want to get into questions right away, maybe we can get into the questions na lang, Cham, if there are any. Happy to answer.
Yes,
And then
Mike.
if we have time later, we'll play this video of Dean and how he launched the Sound of Shell in 2014.
We actually got a question from Gabrielle about
Ayan.
creating a sonic brand for Converge.
Which one?
The-
For
From
Converge.
Gabrielle the Tipas. I hope I'm
Oh,
pronouncing it right.
um, so Gabrielle, Gabs, we are actually talking to Calde and Gwyn and Sani already. So you can ask them what how this is progressing. And alam na namin yung timelines. They briefed us already and hopefully we get to work together. So meron kayong certain products na gusto nilang lagyan ng sound. And yan, rest assured we'll do our very best to find the sound of Converge. Confi pa eh, so hindi pa namin pwedeng sabihin. I hope that answers the question. Ayan, any other questions?
We got another question, Mike, from Rhea.
Oh, hi
Let
Rhea.
me,
I was just
yeah.
hanging with her in Tainan last earlier this month lang yun, no? Yeah. So, how do you navigate copyright and publishing for sonic branding assets at your team? So, we are actually partnered with Intellectual Property Office Philippines. We've had a long-standing memorandum with them since I think 2017. So, all of the stuff that we create, we give to them and kinaka-copyright na namin yun for the client. No, so madali na lang mag-copyright ng intellectual property ngayon kasi digital na lahat eh. So during the pandemic, they made sure na the process would be digital. And then in 2 to 3 days, copyrighted na yung asset mo. And then if the client uh, buys the Sonic brand so that they will own it, yun na. So the copyright transfers to them and they can utilize that intellectual property in whatever way they wish. Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
influences,
Hold on.
inspirations, and samples used. So as much as possible, Rhea, it's everything is original, no? So concise version yung pinakita ko kanina sa PRA, for example, or yung sa Philippian Sons. But si CJ, ang dami niyang nilalagay na music theory, tapos we use a lot of research to really make the sound of each brand distinct from each other. We always get asked parang, oh, pareho ng target audience yung McDonald's tsaka Jollibee. How do you distinguish? Iba yung brand essence ng dalawa eh. So really, magiging iba yung Sonic brand nilang dalawa. That's how we approach it. So in terms of inspiration, we don't literally listen to the top Sonic brands in the world and pattern after them. We just follow our process and then our team just creates original work from there. Intellectual property ng client. I hope that answers, Rhea. Within PH, if that's relevant. Yeah, so when we do a copyright, so IPO Philippines, they're partnered with their counterparts all over the world. So if you copyright it here, it's copyrighted global. Actually, universe nga ginagamit na sa contract, no? In worlds not yet discovered. So that's yours forever and ever. Amen. Hey Jason, long time man. So how challenging is it to come up with original sonic brands with the world having access to so many notes and tunes? How high is the risk of plagiarism, even accidental? Um, yeah, so it's our job to make sure that that doesn't happen. We had a client actually we have a client now, and then our team got back to us, and CJ and I were like, parang katunog ng something yun. So we really do our due diligence to make sure na wala siyang katunog. Um, and then again, we have a patented formula in our ideation to make sure that everything is original. Um, so there are only uh, 7 notes in the entire world, you know. So but there are millions and millions of variations that we can use, millions and millions of variations of the tempo or the pace of it. You know, home credit. We can say home credit. Ho, ho, ho. Maraming ano iterations. And then even the sound, you know, so we can use a keyboard, we can use a guitar, we can use a sitar para iba-iba yung yung sounds niya. We have encountered that, you know. So we're also a part of a network of sonic branding agencies all across the world. So we talk to each other, not just on the work we do, how we do things, um, how we patent and copyright things, but also pricing. So yun, hopefully those things can help us avoid, in your words, yung plagiarism, even accidental. So we really do our due diligence. I hope that answers the question. Any other questions, guys?
Got another question from
Oh, here, see Rick.
Ricardo.
Yeah.
Ricardo
Rick
Pascual. Are
and I
there
actually
any
went to school
industries where
together.
sonic branding isn't as strong?
Uh,
Ooh,
yeah, we went
cool.
to school together, and we actually were dorm mates for 4 years, right, Rick? Yeah, we had some times. Just to repeat, Cham, sorry to cut you. Like, are there any industries where sonic branding isn't as relevant or applicable, or does sonic branding cut across all industries? This is an interesting question. Like, if you ask us, we'll be biased, you know. So anybody with ears, even deaf people, pwede kang mag-implement ng sonic brand actually. So we've seen examples of how that's done, whether via braille or vibrations, no, or like implements or devices that are wearables. So for us, any industry, um, sonic branding can apply. So as you saw, we've done work with tech companies, we've done work with FMCGs, we've done work with e-com companies, organizations. So I think sound really, there's a here point for everybody, you know. So we have encountered some companies now wherein it's just not part of their brand essence. So sound is really not part of what they're doing as marketers. So na-disapprove siya. So they opted not to use what we presented because, you know, in our heart of hearts though, we believe that someday they'll be back because that will be a competitive edge for them at some point. So if you ask us, yes, sonic branding cuts across all industries. But also no, some brands actually don't consider sound as important to their 360. In your vertical, in your space, so mental wellness is actually very, very important. So right now we're talking to a client, that we're curating music for them, just to calm people down and give them a sense that they're not alone, you know, because they're away for long periods of time. So we're curating music for them to help with the mental wellness. Rick, I'm sure you know of the healing properties of sound and music as well. Follow up question by Rick. So, how long does it typically take to create a company's brand or sonic brand? So, I think I touched on this a little earlier. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks to do it. It really depends on how clear the brief of the brand is. So, we just had a briefing. What day is it today? Last Tuesday, right, CJ? Cham, right? So we just had a briefing. Very,
Yeah.
very clear. Their brand essence was clear. You know, they filled out our sonic identity brief very, very detailed. And then they showed us a lot of examples of their past work. So yun, very quick yun. Like in a week or two, we'll be able to figure something out. In certain cases though, some brands like who are kasi they're in the middle of rebranding, so they're still figuring out their brand. So yun, it takes us a lot longer because the rabbit holes that we have to go to, or the back and forths with them and the agency are longer. So we've had one like it took us about 2 months to do. We've had one that the process took about 8 months to do. So but at the end of the day, we still get to where we need to go. If we have time to show the shell one, it took them 18 months to do that. So it really varies. So I hope that answers that question as well. Um,
Any more
yeah,
questions,
you're
guys?
welcome, Jason. Jason, now you finally know what we do. Kasi when we see each other, you're like, ano bang ginagawa ng Homonym? Because we were so into so many things before, no? So now we really just focus on three things: in-store music, audio production, and sonic branding. Sonic branding, yun yung sinasabi ni Cham na audio marketing strategy. Maraming nakadikit doon. Sorry, Cham, go ahead.
Yeah, just asking the group if they have any questions.
Ah,
So far,
sige. If
far so
there are
good.
no other questions, we strongly, strongly suggest that you look for Homonym on Facebook and then follow us so that you can DM us anytime if you have any questions. And then you can go to yo at Homonym. Wait, let me show. Yeah, and you can message us at yo at homonym-inc.com or just go to homonym.ph if you have any burning questions. As Cham mentioned, we're gonna send a copy of this deck to you guys so that you can watch it on your own time. If you're interested in us presenting to your teams, just reach out to Cham or message again at yo at homonym-inc.com or in our Facebook group. We'd be happy to pay you guys a visit or do a Zoom call like this. We'll give you a copy also of this recording para you can go back to it anytime. And then at some point, we will post this recording, probably not the whole one, but in bits, para lang there'll be informative content in our socials. Anything else, Cham? Siguro we can play the Dean's video to end the thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, go ahead, Mike.
The Shell brand is known for many things. Not only its technology, but its commitment to building communities, to building nations, investing in young minds to solve the energy challenges of the future of this planet. And we want to embody that spirit, not only in the way we look, but the way we sound.
We were trying to bring something that's common across all the parts of Shell. When we think about it, sound is a big part of how we experience things. But it's something that is important and helps people engage with brands.
We began by doing a very deep musical analysis of all the music that Shell had ever created for any touch point across any communication. Amazingly rich heritage.
So our process is very, very similar to this.
They talked about the history of the brand and, the future of the brand and where it was going. And then I was given musical examples of things that bits of it were liked, but it wasn't right. When we talked initially about the sort of the values of the brand, for instance, the sort of human and kind of traditional element to it as well, because obviously the brand has a history, and that's where the real instruments come in.
race car driver, we all look about performance.
Well, over the last 100 years, the Shell logo has been one of the most recognizable and certainly most ubiquitous visual icons in business and by way of branding. And what we'd like to do is to really enrich this further by overlaying, the power of sound. When you hear the sonic signature of Shell, we'd love to think that even if you can't see it, you can somehow visualize the Shell logo and the whole cachet of the brand with it.
Yay! Thanks so much again, guys. Cord is actually now our European partner, which is strange. But Dean is our special advisor for sonic branding and experiential marketing in Homonym. Um, Again, thanks so much. We hope to see you guys in the next Soundscapes. We'll keep, if you don't mind, we'll keep your email addresses and then we'll enroll you in our newsletter in case you're interested in the power of sound. Cham?
Yeah, thanks everyone. As mentioned, stay tuned. No, we'll have another webinar, hopefully by January or February next year. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you guys. Happy lunch.
Bye. Happy lunch. Thank you and good night. Ayan. Tayo, tayo na lang yung natira. Ayan. Okay, I will stop recording.